Hi, everybody. Earl Fanatic here again with the Cryptopolitan, and today's guest is Richard. Richard, how are you today, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I thank you for inviting me. It's a privilege to be here.
Hey, no worries. Yeah, I guess we'll just dive right into the
Okay.
questions. Why don't we just jump in?
Yeah.
Here you do have something to do with art, so that's of interest to me for sure. Why don't you tell the viewers what's the project, and just tell us about it. Just 30,000 foot overview.
Yeah, sure. Just in terms of 30,000 foot, it's well, the title of it is Hereafter the Art. So as long as people remember that, they'll be able to find their way around. But the
Okay.
Hereafter the Art is based on the future of art. So what we're trying to do is, in essence, it's an attempt to crowdsource the future of art. And
Oh,
so,
interesting.
and then in general, it's an attempt to crowdsource the future. So it's something that I think that most crypto investors would be appreciative of, trying to forecast the future and see where things are going in terms of
Mhm.
investments. But this is quite a unique project. I mean, I've been doing this a little while now. We've been working on this for a couple of years, and it hasn't come to my attention that there's anything quite like it, which is neither here nor there. But our goals are sincere and unique in that we want to try to find some way to talk about where art is going and what this might mean in the future. And so,
Fantastic. Well,
but
so
the-
obviously it's going to be the future of art. Why don't you give us some of the building blocks of the project? Tell us
yeah,
structure around the art. What types of art is it?
yeah.
Is it your NFT? Are there sculptures? Are there actual physical artworks that are being put into the structure? Tell us about that.
Well, what makes this unique is the way that we're incorporating time capsules. So the NFTs are actually time capsules, and we're working with a group called Artifine, and they
Mhm.
are providing the technical guidance on this thing. But these time capsules, what we've done is we've reached out to an assortment of artists, all of which are incredible creators, and they've provided us with work based around a theme, and that theme is what I was talking about a moment ago, trying to make predictions. Now, it's not necessarily like somebody saying, "Oh, on this date, things will be happening in this way." Some of these people are using their medium very creatively to talk about things that are going to be down the road a bit. So
Mm.
these time capsules, these NFTs are not just your standard NFT. It's not just a visual. There could be all kinds of assets in there. There could be, well, high res images for demonstrating or for exhibiting in terms of exhibition purposes. Uh,
Mhm.
there could be licensing. Well, there are definitely licensing agreements that allow certain uses of these NFTs. There could be audio. It could be MP4s. Uh, could be essays. All kinds of things that are about what this art that reflect what the artist is thinking about. And so right now we've capped this project at hopefully 100 artists, but right now we're doing it in terms or in thirds. So we'll have approximately 30 artists at a time. This first group of 30 artists is all signed on and have submitted their work. Uh, these are all one of one NFTs. So all of these people are doing something that's unique and kind of different from well, somewhat different possibly from what they've been doing, and we're uh, pretty amazed at the results so far. It's definitely a gamification of the NFT space. So there are uh, there are certain risk-taking elements incorporated into this project.
Mhm.
There are different levels, I would say, to define that. I would say, well, first of all, it's a blind mint. So anybody that's wanting to enter into this will not know. They'll know who this pool of 30 artists. We'll have that listed, and we'll have bios of them on our website, and people can that are interested in participating can go to the website. They can look up each artist individually and read about them and what their CV is, and really investigate them uh, in detail. But if someone is interested in buying one of these NFTs, they will not know which artist they're going to get initially. It's a blind mint. So
I
when
follow.
when all of these 30 NFTs are purchased, then the collector or institution, we've appealed to institutions as well to enter into this project. But when all of these 30 NFTs are purchased, the collector will then know which artists they have purchased, and they will also know the contents of the time capsule. So there could be all kinds of things in the time capsule. I mean, many elements to it. Now, the catch is it's a catch may not be the correct term. The interesting element here is that the collectors become participating clients here. It's not like they have to provide information, but the idea that they are purchasing one of these time capsules gives them a little bit of power here. They can choose to open the time capsule immediately upon the mint out. And if they open the time capsule, that allows the rest of the world to see the contents of that capsule.
Mm.
If they do not, if the collector chooses to hold it tight to their chest and not open the time capsule, then there could be other elements that enter into this. I mean, the value of some of these will be increased by the fact that the contents have not been revealed just yet. And so a collector may have a high profile artist and want to keep the contents of their time capsule blind or secure for a while. You know, if they're trading it on the secondary market, they may have the idea that it might be worth more if it's left concealed than if it's revealed.
Right.
So there's one other little thing going on though in the background. There's a bit of software that will reveal the time capsules unannounced at some point in the future, regardless of what the collector does. So if you're sitting there with the contents of your capsule and you know what's in it and you're enjoying the fact that you have privileged information, you can deal with that for a while, and it may be quite a while, but at some point there is a chance that this time capsule will pop open unannounced, and the contents will then be available and visible to the entire
That's an
world.
interesting piece for sure.
Yeah, it just adds another little twist to things in terms of trying to stimulate an interest in these things.
Absolutely. So yeah, I've seen NFTs holding like high res licenses, audio, video, that sort of thing, writing pieces inside, which is a fascinating piece. But I like the fact that it's a time capsule, so they have the option to crack it open or to leave it as a mystery, right? So it's like Schrodinger's cat, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you have no
yeah,
idea what is going to be inside, and
yeah.
interesting what's going to happen. It's almost like Secret Santa, but just like longer, right? So this is pretty cool. So people are holding on to these things
Now,
now.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
So obviously there's going to be the list of all the different artists. There's going to be some conversations with the artists and stuff that you guys are putting out there. Are there going to be any like Twitter spaces or places where we can, listen to the artists or learn more about them or hear them speak about their work?
Well, we do have at Hereafter The Art is our Twitter handle, so that can be accessed easily. And then our website is pretty informative too, hereaftertheart.com. And so that's pretty interesting. A lot of these people have extensive backgrounds in their areas of expertise. And well, I was going to also say that currently, though, we are offering mint passes. So we have in this first batch of 30 NFTs, we're starting out with 15 of these are being offered as mint passes. So right now, these mint passes are available at 1.2 ETH per mint pass. And then later, after those are purchased, then the price will go up a little bit and when it's generally offered. But this first step, the mint pass, is now currently available at 1.2 ETH. Now, the interesting thing about that, or I would think that our listeners would find this interesting, is that some of these artists have been quite successful. I mean, some of these artists have commanded fairly extravagant prices, at least in terms of general purchase prices. So, for instance, Asanachi He's a renowned African artist. He's one of our artists, and his work's gone as high as $132,000, I know, in the past. And so, I'm not saying that that's the case all the way around, but it is true that while the mint pass is 1.2 ETH, there's a real possibility that somebody will be coming out in a pretty good state after the
Fantastic.
purchase.
That's a really cool project. Now, there's a lot of moving parts to this. You've got 30 artists, you've got various things that they're putting into the NFTs themselves. You've got the time capsule itself. You've got the automatic time capsule where it's just going to open and people will see what's inside. You've got the people who have the option to open it right away. You have the option for people to hold on to it and keep the mystery going for a little while longer. From all these multiple moving parts, what excites you most about the project?
Well, the that common theme, that common thread of trying to forecast the future has been an ageless thing for
Mm,
millions of years. Practically, people have always wondered what's coming next.
coming next, yeah.
And so,
We don't
but
have a
when
crystal
we,
ball, but you have a time limit on your crystal ball.
yeah, yeah. And so what I've been finding very fascinating is the way that all of these artists interpret this idea. So, while we'll have some people that are making these very clever and pretty straightforward predictions, there are others that are using a lot of AI in terms of the visual effects and actually in terms of the predictions as well. I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to give away too much. I mean, as one of the original authors of this project, I am privy to a lot of this, what these
Right.
artists are putting forward. So I can say that, for instance, Ivana Tao is putting together a conversation of her current self with her future self. So
Interesting. I
she's
mean,
created this.
that fits the thematic very well.
Yeah, she's created this conversation, which is pretty insightful and really kind of
Mm.
riveting in a lot of ways.
In
Yeah.
terms of like artwork and just what's happening in the industry now, again, I've been noticing a shift towards more of the utility, more of the usage of the blockchain technologies to be able to do interesting things like encapsulating all these things within an NFT, putting the time capsule on them, putting the software where the time capsule opens, like auto opens. Um, what I've noticed is that it's just interesting what people are using the technology for. There's a bit of a maturity now, right? It's not just crypto kitties and pictures of weird cats on the internet and Dogecoin, right? So
So
it's a
they are
much
cute.
more elegant, solution to different futuristic pieces of the internet. Now, one of the more interesting pieces I've seen was, and this actually didn't come from an interview. This was just a passing conversation where we were talking about art and blockchain. And what someone was doing was they were trying to create something where everybody added a small piece to the equation moving forward. And I want to get your thoughts on that. So people would essentially compose a piece of music, and let's say they were a drummer, and they would make a drum beat, and then they would pass it along, and a flautist would then add flute to it, or violinist would add violin, or pianist would add piano to it. And because it's following along the chain, every
Mhm.
piece kind of evolves that piece bit by bit by bit. What are your thoughts on like, that sort of thing as a crowdsourced piece for artwork?
Well, I really do like that. My background is in museums. I've worked my entire life in different museums. The last 21 years were in an art museum, and so I had the privilege of working with a lot of artists and actually seeing how engaging with them on how they come to certain ideas and how
Mm,
ideas build. And what I like about our project is that the concept, it is one based around an idea. It doesn't, the different manifestations of this idea in terms of visuals and the audios, uh, all those things are legitimate and significant. So what you were talking about, this oh, what's that called when there's a name for this and it's escaping me at the moment, where an old parlor game where you'd fold up a piece of paper and somebody draw a bit of a line and then they'd hand it off to the next person. They'd fold the paper again and draw a little bit more of a line. And
right. And then everybody would add to it until it became a
yeah,
picture of
and
some
in the end they'd
sorts.
unfold it and see what the work was. A nice little visual on everybody's interpretation of it. And,
Fantastic. I mean I remember that game as a child. And so
and
yeah,
it,
that's actually pretty fun, like how you explain the
but
blockchain.
but what we're trying to do here is we're trying to elevate the collector too. So the collector is not just a passive bystander hanging on to these works. Their interpretation or their participation in this is just every bit as important as the artist that's created the initial piece. So you have,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I like the way you made it fun and interactive for every piece of the puzzle, the collector included. The collector isn't just like a passive,
right,
piece of the puzzle. They have the option to pop the capsule or not,
yeah.
or sell it on the secondary market or not, or et cetera, et cetera. So it gives them options.
And so we are interested in the comment. I mean, this, of course, a collector is perfectly fine just to sit back and hold their work. That's just fine.
Yes.
But we are expressly interested in getting comments from these collectors. As these capsules pop open, there will be something to compare it to, like the previous one, and how these things are developing around a theme. So there'll be lots of room for commentary and the collectors to add their bit of wisdom to what they've got and how it relates to others. And what we intend to do is create a catalog, probably
Mhm.
a digital catalog, but much like a show catalog for an exhibition. We'll create this catalog that not only has commentary and articles that may have been written by others, outside sources, outside writers, but also we would be very much interested in what the collectors have have been thinking about the contents of their specific, or maybe how they use the contents or how they display it or what they would think of the, say for instance, if it got sold on a secondary market, they may have advice for the other person. So there's this whole
Yeah.
little microcosm of interest that we've want to collect and record in terms of this catalog.
Now there's funny things because the folks I interviewed literally just before you have this thing called permanent data storage on the blockchain, and you're prepaying for essentially 200 years of storage on the chain. I thought that was fascinating, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what could we use that for? And here you are popping up saying, hey, here's a bunch of artwork, and I'm like,
yeah,
huh.
perfect timing.
There you go. So
Yeah.
there could be some really cool joint ventures there. So I'll make an introduction for you after the show. But so, it's interesting. You have a really cool background. You worked at museums. You're building this art project together. But I gotta ask. So when you're not doing these things, when you're not sitting in front of the computer, what do you do for fun? What kind of hobbies do you have just outside of the project unto itself?
Yeah. Well, I have to admit I'm a lifelong art person, so I've been involved in that since I was a kid. Basically, I mean, I grew up in a house where my mother was a painter, and though sort of a Sunday painter, but so I was introduced to this early on. So right now, as I'm being interviewed, I'm sitting here in my studio. You may detect some arches going overhead.
Yeah.
This is a building I put together about 30 years ago, and I've used it extensively over the years. So I do all kinds of visual artwork as well as sitting here in front of this laptop and working on ideas, and it's just a passion that I have. And it's because this idea that I mean, I know that art is a topic that a lot of people feel alienated from. I mean, I'm well aware of that, but it's
Hmm.
over the years I've learned that uh, everybody's comment, there are all so many different kinds of creativity. I mean, anybody doing programming is a lot of these artists are programmers, and
Yeah.
so these creative aspects come in from all over the place. And so I've learned that these opinions that people have about maybe being shut out of this are not really valid. Anybody that wants to participate should feel just as validated as anybody else, and that's what I've really enjoyed about this whole thing.
Fantastic. Well, I believe that having that outlet for art, allows you to have that expressionism for something to just feel the feeling. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
there's a lot to be said about being able to express yourself through artwork and whatnot, right? So, and there's so many different facilities by which to do that. Like I myself am a martial artist, but I also am a pianist. So,
Yeah.
you know, but both of those are my stress relief. Either I'm going to bang on a piano or I'm going to go hit something with the target pad or whatever else to let my stress out. But
Hmm.
both of those are expressions of, you know, emotion. So it's really interesting to see, you know, people having, you know, different ways to express what they've got bottled up inside, and then you let it out, and you know, there's a big stress relief from that, right? So whether you're
Yeah.
painting, sculpting, or you're swinging a sword around, either way, martial arts and martial art, it's art is art, right? So
I've
yeah.
got this. Yeah, I agree with every bit of that. I've got this idea that as these things migrate and evolve, these creative aspects, that there's somewhere out in the, you know, every time a piece of technology comes along, there's
Mm.
somebody willing to utilize it in all kinds of ways. And you know, you get people that are experimenting with things all the time and stretching boundaries and ideas about what something might mean or what it's used for. And
Hmm.
and it just seems that there's a as this evolution continues, there's always something that somebody's going to come along and say, "Well, I never thought of that. Where'd that come from?" You know, and
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Well, which is
essentially,
fascinating. And then now they're slapping it together on a blockchain, sticking it all together and chaining it all
hmm
together so you can see the evolution of it, right? It could have started as one
uh-huh.
piece, you said, drawing one piece of the line, and then you fold a piece of paper up and you pass it along, and now it's a house. Now it's a flower. Now it's a forest. Who knew, right? What it turned
Yeah,
into.
yeah. And so also to answer your question about what I do, you know, when I'm not doing this kind of thing, is that I work with paper in the most simple of ways. It's not even using a pencil. So a lot of my work for the last 15 or 20 years has been done with die blades and chisels and knives and punches. And so I'm manipulating, or you could say
Paper,
I'm
yeah.
drawing using these kind of tools, but there's no pigment involved. And so,
Right, right. Hey, it's still like it's like an evolution of, for example, origami, right? Like you're you know, instead of
yeah,
folding stuff, you're punching
yeah.
stuff, cutting stuff, putting it together in a different fashion, and it still makes for interesting things to look at. Paper unto itself is a fantastic medium. I love it.
So you know that comment is also meant to let people know that if there's any interest at all, it doesn't have to be a highly technical interest in this project. I mean, there's so many levels of which to enter what we're trying to think about and what we're trying to involve people with, that everybody's welcome to give it a shot. So, you know, I would invite people to go to our website and just look around on it for a little while. There was an interesting article written a couple of months now about our project by an Amsterdam art historian named Nina Knock,
Mhm.
Knaack. And she's written about NFTs and the digital art world, as well as other aspects of the art world for some time. But she did this really nice little article on our project. So there's a lot of background in that if people would want to investigate a little further.
Absolutely. So yeah, which kind of leads me to the last question here. And it's you know, give the readership, give the viewership a reason to connect with you, whether it's they're interested in the art, they're interested in expressing their own art, they're interested in
Mhm.
becoming part of the art community. There's a million and one reasons why they should connect with you. Pick one, and where should they connect with you? Is it the website? Is it specifically, you know, a particular community that you want to you know, grow? Give them a reason and give them a place.
Yeah. So the again, I would suggest first going to the website at hereaftertheart.com. That's probably the primary, and there are other links there by which people can find their way around. But there's also a little page there if people wanted to write to us. There's a way to contact us there as well. Our Gmail account is listed there, and then on the Twitter account, that's a pretty informative place to see what's going on.
Active Twitter as well. Okay, cool. Well, fantastic. Well,
Mhm.
you know, Richard, it's been a real pleasure getting to know you, know about your project, and it's really neat that you're bringing the art world together with this whole time capsule NFT, you know, architecture. That's pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, I thank you for that. It's been interesting trying to tell people that this is not an ordinary or what has become kind of a standard NFT project. So we're really trying to do something different here.
Well, the fact that there's 30 artists, they're all one of one NFTs, you can open or close the capsule. It goes a little farther than, you know, the regular NFT type of thing, and there's utility behind it and there's art behind it, which is all very interesting pieces of the puzzle. Thank you so much. And
Mhm.
good luck with your project.
Thank you a lot too. All right.
Cheers. Cheers.
Bye.